The day 6 text messages changed my life. In my family, we communicate by text. I can be at the dinner table and get a text message from the person literally sitting on my lap. I grew up with my siblings outside of New York City. On this day, I was living in New York with my husband, Charles. My youngest sister, Candy, she lived a few cities away. My sister, Joan, was living in South Carolina. I pick up the phone, and there it is, a text from Joan, which I'm gonna try to read in my head in her New Yorkese. I wasn't as cool as Joan, but I'm gonna try it anyhow. Hey, Judes, text number 1 from Joan. Hey, Judes, what you doing? I'm moving to Florida. Since you're in between jobs and my place would be vacant, would you wanna move to South Carolina? My inside voice is screaming. What? How did she know that Charles and I have been talking about moving away from the cold, brutal New York winters on the Hudson River, the icy steps that I have to traverse, difficulty going up and down those steps to and from the car, shoveling the snow to make a path around the car. What? Move? Inside, I'm also telling myself, okay, don't act too thirsty, girl. Play it cool. So I respond. I pick up the text, number 2, to Joan. Let me check with Charles and see if Candy will move into my place. I put the phone down and I call out to hubby. Charles, I just got a text from Joan. She got a job in Florida. Do you want to move to South Carolina? Her house is vacant. He responds, sure. Text number 3 to Candy. Hey sis, how are you? Charles and I are thinking about moving into Joan's place in South Carolina. If we move, would you want to move into the co-op? Immediately she responds, sure. That was text number 4 from Candy. Sure. Now, text number 5 to Joan. Type it. Let's do it. Text number 6 from Joan. She sends a Tony Tiger response. Great. Now, these texts went back and forth in a flash, much quicker than the time it's taken me to tell this story. Later, we agreed to make it easier for each other. Let's leave the homes furnished. And I began to think, I hope I'm not being too impulsive. Well, 4 weeks later, I'm sitting in the middle of a living room of my new home that's located off of a dirt road and a quarter mile away from a cotton farm, surrounded by my sister's stuff. I'm ready to explore new adventures, new opportunities to seek. I have freedom to do anything I want to do, when I want to do it. No schedules, no deadlines, no responsibilities. I was a happy camper. We're enjoying the fresh air. Well, actually the fresh country air, the solitude of country living, no sirens or car horns blasting. The good news is not that I love my husband, but that we have each other and that he is my best friend. Charles is semi-retired. He's an associate professor and he's teaching online. Me, I thought I was going from a 9-to-5 to freedom, from Egypt to the promised land. I raised my hand to tutor children while I'm looking for full-time employment. Then I realized I'm growing weary on this journey. Oh no, what have I done? I can be impulsive. I have no family here. I have no friends. I have no job. Suddenly, I feel like crap. No job, no money, no life. I was in a dry land. How did I get to rural South Carolina? I can't believe that a year has passed. I joined a church. I'm still volunteering. I'm still looking for work. I continue to submit my resumes online, no bites, no referrals, no opportunities. Most of the opportunities are for engineers, not human service administrators. I guess I should have done a little bit more research before leaving to South Carolina. Well, in this space, I needed to know my purpose for being here. And I learned that my great-grandfather was a farmer. He was actually a sharecropper on the Red Cliff Plantation in Beach Island, South Carolina, which was about 20 minutes away from where I live. In one of the slave cabins on the property, today, if you went there, you would see that he's pictured in the field holding one of the children. He's the mother and the children standing in the middle of the cotton field, and there he is holding the baby. He's not recorded as a slave, though he was recorded as having a high yield picking cotton, and he worked in the winery. In a full circle moment, I realized that I have mixed feelings. Walking on the land where my great-grandfather worked, proud to learn about my legacy, my heritage, but saddened to know under the conditions that he and others lived and worked. After slavery, Black farmers numbered 5% of the farmers. Today, Black farmers number 1% in South Carolina, and most are elderly. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I raised my hand again to volunteer to write a grant for funds to connect socially disadvantaged farmers, is what they call them, SDAs. I call them Black farmers, women farmers, new and beginning farmers, military veteran farmers. And what we do is we go out and we connect the farmers who are growing the food. We purchase the food and we give them to underserved communities. We also got a grant to provide outreach and education to connect these socially disadvantaged farmers to outreach and education and grants. During COVID, we were able to get many of them replacement funds for their wages. So today, I will raise my hand again and again to assist populations in underserved communities. Well, Charles and I, we still live in rural South Carolina. The dirt road is now paved. The cotton farm, it's still there. The programs at Red Cliff, I attend those, and I continue to work with new and beginning farmers. Most of all, I have no plans to go back to New York. And when it comes to group texting, with my siblings, we still group text. Thank you.